hit that notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and like my Facebook page. All of that information is below. Guess what? Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Danita and welcome to Baggage Claim Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. If you missed any of the episodes from season 1 or 2, they're all uploaded on my YouTube channel and this would be a good time to play catch up. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and like my Facebook page. All of that information is below. Guess what? Season 3 is around the corner. And backed by popular demand, the topic is deal breakers. That's relationship deal breakers. And we're going to ask the question, do you know your breaking point? As a licensed marriage and family therapist, I work with many couples who I think should have broken the deal day one or should have never gotten into the deal. And then I work with some who are trying to break deals that are workable. And so we're going to talk about various topics that people may view as deal breakers, and we'll ask the question, deal or no deal? Kids, deal or no deal? Addictions, deal or no deal? Or are all addictions equal? You have alcohol, drugs, gambling, food addictions, shopping addictions, porn addictions. And so deal or no deal? Submission. To submit or not to submit? That is the question. Deal or no deal? So you don't want to miss this season 3 deal breakers. I'm looking forward to joining with you. So go ahead and like and share with all of your family and friends and join me now. Baggage Claim, Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode. This is episode 6 of season 3, Unpack Your Bags, Baggage Claim, Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. I'm glad that you joined us tonight, and as you're coming in, please go ahead and do what we do. Begin to like and share. Let us know that you are tuning in with us. Go ahead, if you have been watching, let us know that you are a fan. I hope you are a fan. Type in, I'm a fan. And if this is your first night catching one of our episodes, go ahead and let us know where you're viewing from. And then also go to the YouTube channel and catch the replays. When you start to watch the replays, let us know that you are catching the replay. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also hit that notification bell. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about the topic. We want you to be engaged, and we're going to try to keep track of what any questions or comments that you have coming on the feed. So tonight, back by popular demand, Karan is here tonight. And if Karan has been, I think this is the 4th episode this season. So if you think Karan should be a co-host, go ahead and type in Karan should be a co-host.
Special guest.
And we also have Nakima Missouri on tonight. And Nakima, she joined us in season 1, and she's back, and we're excited about having you share your expertise on tonight, Nakima.
Yes.
And so thanks again for joining us. So tonight's topic is, I've got 99 problems. Are you one? I saw a post that said, it was like a meme. It said, I got 99 problems and I'm going to take a nap and ignore them all. Well, we know that you can take a nap, you can go to bed with your 99 problems, but when you wake up, your 99 problems are going to still be there. And so a lot of people try to ignore their relationship situationships. But we know that it all catches up with you. And so we're going to talk about that on tonight. So each week I give definitions between, the difference between a preference. You got a dog up in there? I give the difference between, I talk about a preference versus a red flag versus the deal breaker. And so we've been talking about deal breakers, but tonight we're going to talk more about the red flag. So a preference is one of those things where, I would like for my intended mate to have this, to have that, to be this, to be that. But if it doesn't work out exactly that way, I'm okay. The red flags are those things that you notice, behaviors that you're like, I should pay attention to that, because at some point this may become an issue. But then those deal breakers are the ones that you go running the opposite direction and say, absolutely no way. But of course we know that a deal breaker to one is not a deal breaker to another. A deal breaker to one may be a red flag to another. So, and a red flag to one may be a deal breaker for someone else. So tonight we are going to try to highlight some of those red flags and some of the things that Nakima and I talk about with couples that we're preparing for marriage, and some of the things that Karan has experienced in his dating years. Yeah. And so, Karan, I know that you shared with me a couple of years ago, you're like, man, Mom, because, when your child starts getting a certain age, you're like, okay, so what's going on? Right. And you got somebody, it's time for some grandchildren. And so Karan, he was like, Mom, this dating scene, you just don't understand. It's a lot. And so Karan's going to talk about some of the things that he has experienced, or even some of his friends, because he's a social guy. He got a lot of friends. And I know that they, talk about relationships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like an incredible leap that we go from, hey, do you have somebody? It's time for some grandkids. Like, ooh, that's like a space and time. Like, but it's really real. The pressure is real. But did you hear that? Do you have somebody? Because it's also time for some grandkids. Whoa.
Well, listen, that's pretty much how it goes.
Isn't it, Nakima?
Yeah. It's like person, grandchildren. Like,
right.
it's a pretty short span.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta get on this.
But yeah, I don't know. The dating scene is a wreck. So I've heard. I've been there. I'm not on the market anymore, but
it's not on the market anymore.
But yeah, I guess I come from the era where I can't start talking about dating scene without talking about social media, because it has just shaken the entire platform of what dating even looks like. And the red flags, I mean, for me, like, you start seeing red flags in people before you ever even meet them in person via Instagram. Like, the way that they hold themselves on Instagram, or the way that they go about things that they do on Instagram and social media, can tell you a lot about a person, even if you don't want to know it. Which is kind of half of the ridiculous part. It's something we didn't even ask for inside of the dating scene that already automatically happens when getting to know people, or even if you don't meet this person on social media. How does that even sound? Even if you don't meet this person on social media.
On social media.
So if you meet someone in person, and then you shortly after get their social media, you can see a whole different person than who you thought that person was before you even get to know that person. And it's just like it. I mean, that's like the gateway to red flags when you even start talking to a woman, or therefore a woman for talking to a guy.
Well, Nakima, you and I have been out of the dating game for a lot of years. So for me, like, having these conversations with Karan is helpful because, and you have you have an adult child, and those approaching the dating scene. It's helpful even for us working with our clients. I mean, I've been out of dating since a long time, more than 40 years, and you more than 20 years, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we don't know anything about this social media thing, not as it relates to us personally.
Exactly. Not directly, but and maybe not for you, Dr. Danita, but what I'm finding is in my, I guess, revolution, I guess, of life. So 20 years into a long-term relationship, a lot of my counterparts are also divorcing. And so I do have the middle age counterpart that is re-entering the dating scene, and starting to step into the social media platform and to explore from this age vantage point, because they were attempting a long-term relationship, and after 15, 17, 20 plus years, found themselves in a divorce and are re-entering. So that is very interesting to watch as well.
I can imagine. I would just be curious as to how they're able to navigate this new wave of meeting people and the whole dating scene. Or maybe, well, the people that they meet will probably be like them if they're looking for people in the same age category, but the way in which they meet people is just very different.
Super.
Yeah.
It's a whole culture. Like, it's a whole figuring out. Like, there's a language, there's a culture, there's an etiquette, there's all to just learning how to meet people on social media instead of in public.
Yeah. It has its own social rules.
Right.
I've found, speaking to that, what you're both kind of speaking on is a clashing of both of those, right? So there is this new tech, this new culture, and they're navigating it, but they still hold a lot of the principles and maybe values of traditional dating. And so a lot of times you see this clash. I see it happen in the pace at which relationships move. So certain markers mean certain things to them, but it doesn't mean the same thing to the counterpart. Certain relationship cues, they think the relationship is going one way, and no, just because I texted you that or I was doing this online, that doesn't mean what you thought it meant.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is a culture of what they call subliminal messages. And you can misread a subliminal message or not read a subliminal message, and you were supposed to catch it. So you don't know that this person is more into you than you even thought, but because they're trying to subliminally message you, and you don't even know you're not even paying attention, and they're
Yeah.
sub messaging you on social media.
Yeah. You miss it. Yeah.
Miss it.
Yeah.
And then there's the difference for me. I always need to be educated when I'm working with certain age group couples because I don't know these new definitions. Talking, seeing somebody, or I'm just with somebody, or I'm in a situationship. There's so many definitions to these partnerships these days that I can't keep
That's my
up.
favorite. Correct. I gotta hear your. I know we have a plan, but I do have to hear your definition
Of a
of
situation.
situationship. Yes.
Okay. Now we know that this is we don't call Baggage Claim a Christian show. So coming from my part of when I was living a little crazy, a situationship can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on where you are in your head with it and where that person is in their head with it. Normally they always go bad though, but they can start out good. But I think I would say a situationship is when you're practicing a lot of relationship things, but you're not calling it a relationship. And then it becomes a situation when one person wants more than what the other one once did. So I guess like you can call it friends with benefits becomes a situationship when you start arguing, or you know what I'm saying. You start
Got it.
doing things or practicing commitments that people in a relationship would, but you haven't called a relationship, and it's looking like you may not ever call it a relationship. And now you're getting into a sour place because it's like now before you've ever even gotten into the bliss of a new relationship, you've gotten into the rough parts of an actual relationship, but you haven't even
Yeah.
called it anything yet. Like so, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's twisted and sick.
Yeah, and it changes so quickly. These terms, they change so quickly that by the time, for me, by the time I get used to one definition and then I start using that, with a
Right.
couple, or then it doesn't mean the same.
It's
And
something else. It's something
yeah,
else.
Something
yeah,
else.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, thank you.
For situationship.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just
Yes. Thank
I
you
just
for
always
that
thought it was
plan.
negative. I didn't think that the
It's
term.
it's not negative when it starts, but I guess I guess I would say the term is negative, and yeah, it's a situationship. Girls call it. I would say girls definitely call their situation a situationship before guys do, and we can
Okay.
get into that and why that happens.
Okay. So,
Um,
in trying to think about some of the red flags that couples run into, that they don't always readily identify as a red flag. I was just thinking of some of the things that I see that a couple may not think, oh, this is a red flag.
Right.
That codependency is a big one. Would you agree, Nakima, that we see so many people? Codependency is.
Let's define it.
Okay, so a lot of people think codependency is only connected to someone who is in a relationship with someone who's a substance abuser, right? That's usually when you hear about codependency, but codependency is so much broader than that. And so when we there's lots of definitions. Many therapists have different definitions. I could read different articles, and there'll be like 6, 7, 8 different definitions.
yeah.
But in its broadest term, it's when you are like you are very affected by someone else's behavior. You have a very difficult time separating, knowing where you begin and where you end and the other person begins. Would you
That's right.
say, that in a broad sense, and
Yeah.
what that
It's a
person does affects you significantly?
right. It's a really difficult, or it's a really undermined lack of individuation. So
Mm-hmm.
it's your ability to differentiate self, my
Mm-hmm.
reactions, my thoughts, my feelings from another's thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
Right.
And a big key is from like without awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The codependency really occurs, I almost take on what they think, what they feel, and I'm completely not aware that
Right.
that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we would call that a red flag if it's happening right away before we've even gotten into a space where you need to take on any of my emotions. Or would you say that that's not something that's? I mean, I would think that a partner's emotions, or like if we're married or in a relationship, I'm going to take on some of your emotions, right?
So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
difference between taking on emotions and being present with someone when
Right.
they're going through.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we call it the difference between being enmeshed
Right.
and being differentiated. Like when you're
Right.
enmeshed, like everything that happens to your partner is like it's happening
To you.
to you, and you're not able to separate. Like, I really feel for you, and I'm compassionate, and I care about what you're going through. From and differentiation means I know where I am in this space.
Right.
If it just all comes together in one, then you're not able to help.
Right.
And the other doesn't know what to do. Right. I'm sorry, Nakeem, I cut you off. You were gonna say.
No, I'll just piggyback from there. Karan, you see it in things like when you are having an emotional space, I then structure my life around your experience and response.
Mm.
I don't go to places I might like to go. I don't interact with people that I might like to interact with or do things with because of your activities, because of your emotional space.
Right.
I have a couple now, not as clients, but as friends. When the husband's present, the wife's life, and I mean just day-to-day things, literally become wrapped around catering to, tending to, and moving in whatever direction the husband desires in that moment. So there's no, oh, you're home, you're doing this. Okay, I'm going to the mall to get some clothes I've wanted to get, or the children and I are going to do these things, or even a passing off in a partnership. Okay, I've been with the kids this time. I'm asking you to take over. I'm going to go do another thing. So it really becomes this, my being becomes an extension of your being.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it unbeknownst to either person, you could also slip into that kind of obsession with control because maybe the other partner is not living up to or meeting the needs or the standard of being in that relationship, what the things that are needed. And so the other person goes into overdrive in trying to make sure that partner either grows up or filling in the gap or or making excuses with other people for them when they drop the ball, or when they're not able to do many of the things that relationship calls for. That person jumps in and they start doing it, all of that.
All the things. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that what you said right there, that plot thickens so much today in today's dating world, because nobody knows what realistic expectations are. So then everybody gets their expectations off what they see on social media, and then that's how people get from relationship to relationship to relationship. Because if this person doesn't meet what I saw on social media in a month, it's not my dream, so therefore this is not the person for me. So I have to find that person that I saw on Instagram, or I have to find that relationship that I saw on Instagram. Nobody verbalizes it like that, but that's literally how they're moving, and it's like crazy.
Yeah.
I hear some of my female friends talk about it all the time, and I like reel them back in. I'm like, you're literally describing something that you saw on Instagram. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, it just doesn't. Like, he's a regular guy, and that's okay, because the world is filled with regular guys. I mean, he's just living his life, trying to become, his best self.
But when you spend 7 hours on social media, that becomes your real life.
It becomes your realism.
Your real life. Yeah. It does become your real life.
So like relationship goals has become like such a harm to people because they think that the goal is the start. Like this is the goal.
Yeah.
So when I enter the relationship, this is what it should look like. That's the goal. No, that's not. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it works at all. But that's like the rigid part of dating, and then like it makes people's biological time clock start clicking faster when they see people that are getting it, and each marriage ring that they see on Instagram makes them want to move faster and faster and faster. And don't get me wrong, when you reach a certain age where socially it's time to move into that space. Don't get me wrong, but it's just undefined now because everybody sees it on social media, or they're willing to do unhealthy things to catch up with their counterparts because they see it on social media, and it makes it sick. That's how people get into situationships, hoping that it turns into something, and it doesn't.
Yeah. And I love how you said like the goal equals the now.
Right.
Because that instantaneous experience of watching this heightened level of living, like in your face in the moment,
Every second.
Every second, it's completely undermined people's expectation in the process of relationship building.
Yeah.
Nobody takes a picture of what their significant other looks like when they wake up. Like or they don't take pictures of themselves, like what they look like when they wake up. It's all a picture.
And nobody is. It feels like people don't want to enjoy the process.
No.
They just want to skip over the process and get to the goal.
And that's what the quickness of social media does for people. Like nobody.
There's no tolerance for process. There's no tolerance for process. There's no tolerance for growth. We tout growth mindset, growth goals. Success is a journey. We tout all that, but that really has been out the door. It's like success is right now, or it's nothing.
Right.
It's like the go. It's all the same thing. Like going viral. Like relationships go viral, or you want your relationship to go viral so that it's just popping in a second. Like there's no work to be popping. It's just I gotta do one thing. I gotta strike it rich one time so that I can find the right person who's just everything I've ever dreamed of right then and there. And I know I'm gonna find it because I keep seeing everybody else find it on social media, even though that person doesn't exist.
And then the mindset is when you find it quick like that, you can jump out of it just
as fast because there's another one out there technically.
Yeah. You were talking about unrealistic expectations. The unrealistic expectation that I find most prevalent is you ought to know what I like. You ought to know what I want, and you ought to know what's wrong with me. That is a standard unrealistic expectation. Would you agree?
That's like baseline.
And it's so prevalent. Like I've heard that many times, like, or just felt it. Like, oh, you don't listen? No, we've never even talked about this. Like, I don't even know where you're coming from. Like, and maybe it takes me twice to get it. I'm sorry that I didn't remember the first time you said it. Like, we're just dating. We're just getting to know each other, remember? I mean, outside of favorite color, birthday, I try to remember those things on the first time. But other than that, like, your preferences, like, come on. I didn't know you like dandelions over roses. I forgot one time. Like, no, you're not for me. Because my dream guy, I would not even need to tell him that I like dandelions. He would have saw it in my journal somewhere. And
that's what I was gonna say. He would have seen my Pinterest page.
He would have went on my Pinterest page. He would have saw what I was liking on Instagram. He's just you're not into me enough to know what I like because you'd be studying me enough to these are real. You were laughing, but it's realistic.
It is
like
realistic.
It's really realistic. And not every woman is operating like that. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of women that realize what social, and I'm only saying women. There's guy perspectives too, but I know a lot of them realize how much social media affects their mind, and they try to tune it out. But there are some women that just operate in it, and it's just like they're just in it. Like, can't believe he doesn't know my favorite color by now. You've never even told him.
No, you're right. You're right on. Right on. I've seen relationships blow up because of a like.
Right. That can happen.
Someone liked a thing somewhere else, and then I went on a hunt for what you were liking online, and then I saw that you like these things, and then I had to come bust you in the face because you liked those things. We're done.
It's over.
Yeah.
Because this is not
It's
the
over
relationship
because you
goal.
like those things. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is not time for the tips, but just a tip. Just say what you want.
Just say it.
Just say it. Just say it. It doesn't reduce anything. It doesn't diminish the person's love for you. Just say what you need. Say what you want. And don't expect people to be mind readers. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like guys these days kind of have to be like a little bit of a step ahead of how social media affects relationships. Because if you know that that's where she's coming from, then it may not be your fault or anything like that, but it will behoove you to be a little bit better in your communications, in your communication tactics, in order to get these things out without triggering whatever social media sickness we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what I found myself doing. Is I have a little bit of a not a little bit. I have a lot of bit of an advantage in my communication skills because my mom's great at it. It's what she studies, and it's been passed down. So I thrive on good communication, and so there's ways to work around the way that social media is affecting people's brain, but you have to acknowledge it first in order to then you have to break that mentality down and then build it back up. Like, this is not reality, right? Like, what I'm saying? I'm not about to abide by your social media standards of what you think that this talking stage should look like, or what I'm saying, what you saw on Instagram last week. I'm not, what I'm saying, you have to refuse to do that if you want your standards to be realistic from the beginning, even if somebody has unrealistic standards. Because if they like you and you make sense for them, then they can start, the relationship or the talking stage or whatever can start to move in the right direction. If you acknowledge from the beginning, like, we're not doing relationship goals, we're not feasting on what we see on Instagram to call it we're not doing that.
And I love how you brought up that point of active refusal, Karan, because
that's the term. I didn't know that's what it's called, but that's what it feels like.
Is it
Active refusal,
term, Dr. Danita, or I might have just made up a new theory.
Yeah. It sounds good though, yeah.
Active refusal. I'm writing that down.
That's how we do it though. You need to write a article on that. Don't let somebody else do it before you do.
Continue. What are you gonna say about it?
I'm on it. But that active refusal is actually one of the kind of techniques that we try to offer to people to overcome the codependency.
Right.
Right? Like, you have to absolutely refuse when you're in a relationship, when you're in a dynamic with someone else, to allow yourself to think or feel, I can't do X if they.
Right.
Or I can't be X if they. Or this, right? I'm in this state because they. Any of those phrases, those are completely codependent phrases. When you do not have the sense of your own point of self, like, here's the situation I'm in, even though I'm closely connected, intimately connected to this person, I still maintain an individual influence in what is happening here.
Right.
And you have to actively refuse moving into that space of, this isn't working because you, right? Or I'm doing X because you. Any of that idea or terminology is completely codependent. And it really takes that refusal to believe that and walk that way to get out of it and break it. And if a person can't do that, that's definitely a red flag.
I call it the if-then syndrome. Same thing. If you do this, then I'll do that. And if you don't, then I won't.
Yes. Yep.
But when you think about it, it's a lot more common. The active refusal is not it's just not there with many couples.
Right.
It's a lot. Codependency is a lot more common than people know.
No, for sure. And because I think in part people make it synonymous with an addict, a relationship where there's an addict. But the attempt to attach to another person and not really just recognize how influential you as an individual are in this relationship is at the bare minimum what it is. I love this story because I used to teach college courses for psychology. And in one of my textbooks, I believe it was human development, because it was the chapter on early adulthood. So it introduced the chapter with a dating story. And it had this beautiful example of a young woman and a young man, a heterosexual relationship, they're dating. And after about, let's say, 2 years, the young woman, right, it was like a wonderful example of how not to be codependent.
Right.
She says, we've been dating for about 2 years. I really think it's time for us to start talking about the next step of commitment. And the guy was kind of slow to mature, and he kind of blew her off. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been thinking about it. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's make a plan. Oh, well, all this kind of talk, right? So she said, I'm going to give you 6 months, right? 6 months go by, they do their relationship thing, have fun, have fun. And she keeps her word after 6 months. Hey, what's up? I'm going to make this plan. Next step. No, no, no. Okay, well, out of love, out of grace, out of wanting to give him that extra step, she gives him 6 more months. But at the end of that year, she says, that's it, I'm out.
Good for
What we
her.
most often, right? What we most often see though is people stay and stay
Right.
and stay and stay. And then they turn to the other individual and say, my life is not happy because you refuse
Right.
to commit to
Yeah.
me.
Or they keep saying, I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm not going
Right.
to keep, I'll say, well, what does that mean that you're not going to keep doing this? Like, is there a time frame? No, they just need to change. I'm just not going to keep doing this. And then a year later, I'm not going to keep doing this. 2 years later, I'm not going to keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people are asking me, I have a couple friends that would ask something like that, like, or say something like that. I'm not going to keep doing this. And my question is, what have you looked at what you look like when you stop doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you ready to
Yeah.
acknowledge what that takes and what that feels like when you stop doing it?
Yes. Yes.
Because if you haven't, then I don't believe you're going to stop doing it. Yeah, you haven't.
You could be a therapist.
But that's what I ask them, and they're like, then that's the deep breath, like, am I really gonna stop doing this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you?
No, Karan, you're so right. You're so right. It really is a moment of truth. It's such a moment of truth where they recognize how overconnected they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point that you'll do these things that you don't want to do for the next 6 months, and then 6 months comes and you haven't prepared yourself to leave. So now you're gonna give it another 6 months, not because you didn't want to leave, but you haven't even thought about what it looks like to be by yourself at this point.
Yeah. Do you think that is more prevalent in one sex than the other?
I think guys will let you, if a guy does not want to bite the bullet, he will let you. And I don't want to call it shouldn't even be a negative term. We have to normalize not making getting married such a negative term for men. Because even just what I said was bite the bullet and get married. You know what I'm saying? But for most guys, they will drag it as long as you let them drag it. Like, even if you, for some guys, it's out of fear of not being adequate enough or in a place enough that they'll, are ready to say that this is my wife because they want to be some other place in life as far as status. And then some guys will just literally just drag it because they're just being guys that just want to still hold on to that little piece of bachelor life, you know what I'm saying? And they, like, a lot of guys need a woman to put their foot down, even if the man does want to be with them. I'm sure there's a lot of successful relationships out there where the woman was like, yeah, but I had to put my foot down and say, hey, when is it happening? And he said, he gave said date, stuck to it, and now they're living happily ever after. But it might have went in that same space for another year or so, another year and a half or so, maybe two, if she let it. And I think guys move like that a lot. And that's why I was saying girls call it a situationship a lot of times, because once sex is involved, like, a guy can turn down a lot of red flags once sex is involved, because he knows in his head that this isn't going anywhere. And she's still trying to improve the entire situation while having sex. While he's like, I'll have sex with you as long as you'll have sex with me, but I know we can't be together because I've already seen too many red flags.
Yeah. And I knew I that was my immediate assumption when you defined it, Karan, and you said it, because I think sociologically it's an attempt for women to make that space that you're describing that relationships get into, right? Like, women have let it wane. They haven't kind of set that this is what this is, right? And so they get into these nebulas, and so the situationship term was an attempt to make meaning,
right?
Like, positive meaning out of this space, like this weird, I don't know where we are.
Like, he's not just having sex with me. He cares about me more than just having sex with me, because we're in a situationship. Then it
That's
becomes,
right.
Then it becomes, let me see if he'll argue with me. If he'll argue with me, he definitely cares.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. If he won't commit, but I'm still here, this has to be something a bit more significant. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then
But as a
exactly.
guy,
And
I'm
him
telling you
having
from
sex with you.
experience, we'll put ourselves if there's no other options at the moment, and we've been
Yeah.
having fun together. Yeah, I'll stay
Right.
present for an argument in order to keep this thing going. And you, if that's what you want to do, but a guy doesn't really
Yeah.
desire to argue with you, and not in a situationship. And if I think that's a red flag, if he doesn't invest in what you're doing, as in like act like he cares about your day to day, that's probably a red flag for you because he probably doesn't care as much as you think he does.
Mm-hmm.
That's a definite red flag if you're starting to talk to somebody, because if all he's ever doing is caring about, when's the next link or when's the next time we're linking up, and he's
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
pressing you, not checking for you, not in a jealous way, but in a little bit of a guy wants to know about his woman, like, okay, what are you up to? You know what I'm saying? If he's not doing that, then and he's not a psychopath, you know what I'm saying? If he's not doing that, then because some guys will do it just to do it because they're psychopaths, and they just want to
Yes.
drive a woman down a crazy hole, and that's terrible. But for the average man, if he's not checking on you, but you've already crossed the path of sex and y'all are gonna keep doing that, that's a major red flag, and you should know that it's probably not going anywhere. And if it is gonna go somewhere, you're definitely gonna put your foot down and ask where it's going, or it's just gonna keep rocking.
So, question: do you find that when you have dialogue with friends or social media or whatever, do women really put their foot down?
It rarely. Yeah, not often enough. Not often enough until there's until there's another guy. They're willing to stay in whatever situation until there's another good feeling that comes along that will push them out of that, and then they'll move on to new beginnings. But for my female friends, when they ask me some advice, the first thing I tell them is, if you're having sex with them, the only way to tell if he's gonna be in this with you is to stop having sex with him and see what he does. I'm just telling you. I know that may sound hard because now you're intertwined in it and you like what's going on. But if you can't tell if he likes you and wants to work on some things, I know Steve Harvey said, and I'm no Steve Harvey. I would never be, Steve Harvey and out here think like a man, all that other stuff. But to my friends, my personal friends, I tell them, like, listen, if you think he's in it with you and you want to find out if he's in it with you, stop having sex with him and see if he still kicks it with you, and you'll get a couple answers out of that.
I think that do you think that guys get as nervous as I mean, I only know based on what girls tend to say that it's not that easy to find a guy out here, and so they will let the red flags wave
Right.
and wave and wave. Do you think guys feel the same? Like they'll just keep letting the red flags wave? Do you think they get nervous about finding another?
I don't think their biological clock ticks the same. So they always feel like they have a little bit
That's
more
right.
time than a woman. So a
That's
woman
right.
is going to put up with a few more things than a guy.
That's right.
Yeah, but for the emotional healthy guy, for the guy that knows self, it's just as hard to find a woman that'll meet you where your mind is in today's dating game. I feel like, and I have a few friends that I feel like we meet mentally, and they have the same trouble in the dating field. It's like, because everything is social media driven, and it's hard to break out of that. But yeah, I think the biological time clock is definitely one of the major factors as to why a guy will be so laid back versus a woman is ready and willing to deal with more red flags than a guy.
Yeah.
I even thought of but just that human element where it's so interesting that you brought that up, Karan, because for women to remain in relationship or to seek after relationship in that way, the data shows that marriage, long-term relationship, long-term intimate relationship actually benefits men way more than women. Like women can sustain independently on their own and fare a lot better than men can on the continuum of like lifespan.
Right, because guys like that in relationships live longer and stuff is what you're saying, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah,
Well, and it's really overall. It's health wise. Like men tend to even increase financially when they're married. I mean, it's really they advance socially. I mean, you can really see it when long-term couples break up. Women go off, they thrive, they develop new relationships. They keep their social circle. Men like kind of go into like a Schmeagle, Lord of the Rings.
Not a Schmeagle.
Type of thing. they really can like fall into these holes,
Yeah.
of isolation. But in the biblical idea, right? It says at the beginning, and help me, Dr. Danita, that your desire will be unto him. So it's almost like this, it's like, well, God almost was like, let me put this in them because even though you need them more than they need you, we need a way to kind of make this work and bring this together.
Right.
Because otherwise, it wouldn't happen,
I
because
think a
men would
man
keep
that
doing that.
I think men that know self will acknowledge that
Yeah.
they need their wife
Do you,
heavy.
I think that age matters as it relates to that. If you've been with someone for a lot of years, I tend to see men do what word did you use? Smeagol or whatever.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of
I see that
hobbit in.
more
Exactly.
if it's been, a long term
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because
relationship.
they don't know what they're. I can imagine they don't know what they're gonna do. Like
Mm-hmm.
women are better at organizing their lives. You know what I'm saying? They have their stuff ready in order for them, and the guy just
Yeah.
has to do the work. And then
Yeah.
you remove that woman. Now he's like, I don't even know what to make for breakfast. Like you know what I'm saying? Like most guys when they've been in that system for a long time.
Quran tends to have a more of a traditional mindset to relationship, and it sounds like
definitely.
mostly the thing. I mean, I talk with him about relationship, but the more I hear him, he has a very
Yeah.
traditional mindset
Yeah.
as it
Yeah.
relates to marriage and relationship.
I can't help it, but
Yeah. Yeah. And Karan, you brought up that life organization. And I definitely think that that's a huge red flag. I talk to my kids about that all the time. Like, watch what people do during their downtime. Like, okay, they go to work. And then what? Like, what does their evening look like? If they're not talking to you, right? Because that again is that individuation. If they weren't on the phone with you, what would they be doing?
right.
Because at some point you're going to get old, or not necessarily old, but you will become a normal part of their life. And then they'll
Right.
slowly like pivot back to their own normalcy, right? You won't be like this whole central thing that, oh, all the time, I want to talk to you, be
Yeah.
with you. You'll
In the
just become
post
regular.
romantic stages.
Right.
Exactly, exactly. And you need to know, okay, well, what is that going to look like?
Yeah.
What do you choose to do during that off time, during that weekend time, during that quiet time?
Or
Um,
a red flag is not necessarily what you choose to do. A red flag can be, do you ever stop doing?
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be underactivity. It could be overactivity. Watch how they spend money. What do they
Big thing.
spend money on? What's that discretionary money look like?
Yeah.
Do they, and it's even things like, if they have, I call them tiny tasks, like they're tiny tasks in life, like go to the bank, take care of your
Right.
cleaning,
Right.
do your dishes, like, really try to look at all of those things, because especially as a woman, and I feel like, and some guys, I think, I like how you say, Karan, like a man that knows himself, you'll end up catching a lot of that slack
Right.
once the relationship becomes intimate.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So we were getting into some of the, because we don't want to leave without highlighting some of those red flags, and you started getting into some. You were saying that there's this whole well, I've seen it as well. So there's this whole social media thing, but these things only last for a week, right?
Yeah, it's just a quick fad right now. It's hashtag
yeah,
red flag.
Yeah, so everybody's posting all these red flags. To me, it just looks like a good opportunity to advertise your business.
That's what social media is about a lot of times. That is a red flag. If you advertise your business on social media, it's a major red flag for me. It's a no. Because as soon as we go through it, that'll be exactly what's on social media, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So
I have definitely stopped talking to people for the amount of things that they put on social media. I'm like, oh no, that's way too personal. If you're willing to put that on social media, you're willing to put anything on there, and we won't work.
yeah, yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You had mentioned one or I saw one. It said that if I think the ones on social media are a little silly, but
yeah, there are a lot of them.
But again, I'm not in the generation or whatever. So one said, if you call, but then your the person you're in a relationship with texts a reply,
That's
that's
a
a
red
red
flag.
flag.
It can be. Depending on if you know their everyday schedule, like I mean, not if you know their everyday schedule, but if you know their
Yeah.
habits, it can be a red flag or it can not be a red flag. But it's obviously not a red flag for me. But I don't know. That's a major trust issue. That's another social media thing, and it's a major trust issue. Like if you can't pick up the phone at any point in time in your day, for me, it automatically says you don't want me to know what you're doing. So
for you, or you're saying
no,
in
I'm saying
social
in general.
media?
In general.
Oh, okay.
That's what that means, and because there's so much access, just as there's so much access to good stuff on social media, like not good stuff, but like relationship goals, there's so much access to bad relationships too. And so when you're seeing that stuff every day, and then you call this person, whoever, whatever you call them, your boyfriend, your significant other, your situationship, when you call them and they don't pick up the phone, and then on social media, you've seen at least 7 other people that found out when their boyfriend didn't pick up the phone and just text them back that they were cheating. That's automatically becoming your situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they can't.
Yeah.
But as a man, if you know that, if you're ahead of that, and you know that you can pick up the phone, I would advise you not to play the mind games and just not pick up the phone because you don't. You know what I'm saying? If you can go the extra step and just pick up the phone because you know you can, and just even if it's a quick, you know what I'm saying? If you're trying to build with this person and you're trying to build trust, and this is where they're at with their trust,
Right.
and you pick up the
Right.
phone and you pick up the phone enough, then it becomes okay for you to text back because they have seen you pick up the phone enough. And if they can't get with that, you know what I'm saying? If they can't grow out of that, if you can't help them grow out of that, then there's a red flag.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
Good
a
point.
whole list of red flags that I share with couples that I am preparing for marriage. And I say this, I think, every single week, that you should never wait until you put the ring on somebody's finger to start working on preparing for marriage, because you really need to even know if you're good for each other. And in those preparing for marriage uh, types of sessions with a professional, you can
Yes.
really get to know whether this is going to, or not necessarily whether it's going to work, but what we need to do to be able to
Right.
get to a healthy place.
Right.
But once you have that ring on your finger, all you're doing is thinking about the wedding. And all
Well,
of the red flags are waving around you. And I saw another post. They said, "I saw the red flag. I saw the flags, but I thought I was at a carnival." So you got all these flags waving around you, and you're like, "Oh, I'm at a carnival." And yeah,
yeah. 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 I mean, and like I said, I used to teach, so sometimes I'm a research geek, and there there is some biological basis to why we ignore, or literally ignore the red flags. And it's almost like it's the biological like urge to couple, right?
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
to have that connection, to procreate,
Right.
all the things, right? And so if there's only but so many people, and then especially for women, one of the reasons that men can actually be a little bit more picky, again, is biological. There's just more of us.
Right.
yeah, yeah,
There are, and again, in heterosexual relationships, there are just more of us actually to choose from. And so I think women do have a small, even if unaware, sense of like, ooh, if I get one, I better hold on.
yeah,
Right.
and just be in
And
the
the
And just
carnival.
deal.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And the
Yeah.
natural and I think that's what naturally I don't want to label it jealous, but that's what naturally makes women like, on top of the whole cheating game because there's much more of a
Yeah.
chance. Like this just is like there's women
Yeah.
all over the place and they know,
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Whereas
For
for
sure.
guys, like it's such a weird dynamic because women will have guys tossed at them all day because that's how guys are. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like women, but they're only coming for one thing. When it comes to relationship, guys have women that will come for them for relationship all the time because they want relationship and they know there's fewer of us. So it's like that weird dynamic that guys are less scared to get cheated on than women because there's so many more women, and guys will, guys will be guys.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a dynamic, it's a balance, it's the world we live in.
Yeah, yeah.
It is the world we live in. It is the world we live in. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're coming close to the end of our time, but things that we should, and you can throw some out, Nakima, things that should be thought about.
Somebody said at the carnival holding on to a clown.
Facts.
That's good.
Facts.
At the carnival holding on to a clown.
But some of the typical ones, when you're unable to resolve conflict, that should be a red flag. Arguing every other day and you're still in a dating relationship. What you think is going to happen when you get married?
Right.
It's not going to change. It's going to get worse. One, never being able to take responsibility for their actions, the things, and they always deflect, and it ends up becoming about you. That should be a red flag. Can't handle constructive criticism. I mean, I'm not talking about being in a relationship where somebody never sees anything you do well, but not being able to handle constructive criticism should be a red flag. Not being able to express your emotions, right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
big.
Yeah, not being able to express or almost like we were sharing before, like not being able to offer emotion. I think to your point, Karan, you were saying earlier, and to some extent it's the challenge of society now, but people really need to be able to empathize and like say, okay, I understand how I feel here in this moment, but I also can understand and empathize how you feel and join with you in this moment, even if it's a separate emotional experience from what I'm feeling. And again, it's difficult, but if they're not willing to enter into that, try it, figure out how to learn that, that's a definite red flag. If you can't slow down the passion and the fury to kind of get to that spot, or even just real simple, like you're going through something in life. How did this person show up for you?
Right.
Do you have to beg and plead
to
have them show up for you? Are they at least in a few ways able to offer something of themselves in those moments? Or can you do this? Are you constantly prompting, telling, teaching?
Right.
In that time.
I think validation is a big one too. Very few people know how to validate the other's space, their perspective. People think that validation means that you have to agree, and they don't realize that you can validate that someone had a right to have a feeling, to have an emotion, without you necessarily agreeing with the emotion.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And that ability to validate goes a long way. And if you're noticing that a person is just trying to change your feeling, rather than being with you in that space, and they're saying, oh, you don't need to feel that way, or that shouldn't have made you feel that, and why you got to go to that extreme, and those are that should be a red flag. And these red flags don't mean that you can't get to a healthy space. It just means we should be aware of this, and we should talk about it. And if we're not able to start creating plan for change where we help each other get to that place of change, then we need to go to the professional. Right.
And I think for the young ladies out there or entering a dating phase, I think that it's important to, if you're trying to avoid situationships, for the guy that knows how to do all those things that you just named, it's very easy for him to, I wouldn't say I'm not saying play on a woman's emotions, but it's just easy for a guy to sit and listen and then enjoy your time and then have sex with you, but still not be in a relationship. So if those things start to happen where you're relying on him to express your emotions and he can empathize with you and he actually can do that, you need to start looking to define what you're doing before you end up in a space where you thought this was going somewhere because he can do those things, and then it ends up he just was doing those things because you needed it and he knows how to listen, but that didn't mean you were going to be his girlfriend. A guy can literally say that and not just be honest about it. And that's when girls are like doing relationship type things without being in a relationship. But a guy may not necessarily feel the same if he hasn't approached you about being in a relationship yet, and you need to put your foot down or stamp it or say, what are we doing here? Because you're sitting here listening to me and you're helping me and you're empathizing with me and you're coming through for me. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to end up in that situation where now you got attached to this guy that does all these good things but actually didn't want to be your boyfriend, because that happens. I've been there and done it in the past, and it's not cool, but it does happen. And it's like, you want to be careful of that too. Even though he's good at those things, that's a good guy. But he may not be good for you, and you need to define whether you guys are going to be in a relationship or not. Yeah. Because that's when you really, really get stuck. Is when you really, really actually like him, but he really, really was just, in the situationship with you.
I think the thing that we both find, Nikema, over and over and over again is that whole inability to slow down the pace.
Right.
I mean, the bed is the option week 2.
And it's over.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all the passion. Like no ability to slow down the passion that runs with fervor, anger, irritation, right? Or the other way with sensuality, sexuality. Like there's it, and it's supposed to be just completely and utterly unbridled. And that either way gets folks into a lot of trouble.
Right.
And I think, to what both of you were saying there, it's really imperative that people in relationships, and probably women more than men, need to understand the difference in thinking about these dynamics, right? Like I was talking about the emotional presence, the emotional ability, the emotional show up, men's ability to compartmentalize, right? Like as a woman, if you're showing up for me, if you're there for me, that definitely means this is going somewhere. But to a guy, it literally can mean, we just did this right here, right now. That what's next or what's coming could be something totally different. And it's exactly the same way sexually.
Yeah. So we all know the quote by Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, or believe them. And we're over our time, but I've had mixed reviews over that. One, people say absolutely, people will show you their colors or they'll show you who they are, and if you don't, if you don't see it, if you don't see the red flag, then shame on you. But then other people will say, well, where's the opportunity for growth there? Like, I can be showing you something today, but that doesn't mean that that's where I'm going to be tomorrow. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It really requires that you hold almost like this idea of both. I think it absolutely is true that if you met them and their room wasn't clean, you can best believe.
Their room
You can best believe, okay? If they weren't on top of their personal chores, you can just best believe. And those little personality quirks or habits, they really do kind of remain intact. But it does have the opportunity to look different. I think it's when people talk about, but they can grow. It's the span of growth.
Yeah.
Right? Not talking about going from, adding and subtracting to doing calculus.
Right.
Not usually. Now, you know, people can change, they can have transformations, the Lord saves. But those are like bonus spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and they really aren't things that you can bank on. If you get one of those, surprise, yay for you, yay. But mostly in terms of you evaluating, trust and believe whatever you have in that moment. It can move a little bit. It can, be rounded out a bit, but that's what you got.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, it is what you got, but you also have the opportunity to say, I believe you can grow. You go ahead and grow. I'm going to continue living my life. And if
Mm-hmm.
we're able to circle back around after you have grown, then hey, we'll do that.
Yeah. 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 I think what also is really significant there is the ability, because Gottman calls a lot of those things perpetual problems. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you enter into a relationship, whatever you guys bicker over, wherever the dynamic breaks down, wherever you kind of don't end up seeing eye to eye, or you kind of catch feelings with one another, a lot of that may perpetually continue if the relationship continues. But what can be a huge game changer is how the two of you respond to that dynamic between the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
That really seems to be where you can really see more of that drastic change. So even if we're just speaking individualistically, if I see a habit, a trait in someone, it rattles me, it riles me up, I really can have a huge shift in how I react and respond to that trait so that our relationship and our union can work a lot better. And of course, interpersonally, or in our dynamic, we really can shift. Like, oh, every time we talk about this, or we try to manage this, or we try to deal with this, it's a huge fallout. That we really can change and shift a lot of times, a lot more than trying to change the individual trait,
Right.
which is
Right.
really, yeah, which is really hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that has a lot to do with like falling in love with somebody's potential, is what they always say. And the tip is to know that you can love the person that they are today, and then their potential is their potential. But if you can love who they are today, then you should be all right. I mean, again, it's all levels of emotional healthiness, and again, the way you respond, the way you communicate. Communication to me is like the baseline of any relationship. How learning each other's love languages and things of that nature. And if that person is not willing to do that, that's a red flag.
Yeah. But even when you say when we talk about potential, if you haven't seen some movement, potential can just stay in the balance someplace, right, like just hanging in the air and never be realized, never be experienced. So
Yes.
even with potential, there needs to be some evidence of work and movement. This is a topic that we probably could talk about for 365 days and not scratch the surface. Right.
For sure.
Relationships and situationships and all of the ships.
All the ships.
Yeah. All of the ships. So as we come to an end, we know that it's just navigating relationships is just it can be a lot, especially for people that are not well, emotionally healthy, and a lot of people aren't. And so, if we could leave a tip or two um, to help people who are noticing red flags, just generally, noticing that there's a red flag and they realize that it's not a carnival,
but a clown.
But a clown. What kind of tips can you all offer?
I think the last time you asked me this, I said the same thing, and I'm gonna say it again, and that's run fast. if you can.
I can't.
Okay, leave early. And I don't. That sounds bad, but I don't care. Do it. But that comes with asking questions early and often. That was the real tip: is to ask questions early and often. Get into your communication early and often. And if you don't like what you're seeing early and often, that early, just go. The door's there. Just that's my suggestion. I like to ask questions early and often, and we can get up out of here real quick because you can,
That's if you didn't start having sex in week 2.
Right. You know what I'm saying? That too.
Yeah.
That too. You can't, if you're gonna cross that boundary early, then the deal will
that'll
come
that'll lock you in. That'll lock you in.
Definitely lock you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely lock you in a lot longer. And so, that's helpful. It's not the popular point of view, but holding, withholding, just so you can have that emotional space and awareness to evaluate. Because as soon as you take that physical step, it becomes way more difficult to evaluate. Evaluate them and evaluate yourself in response to them.
Yeah.
How is this making me feel? How do I feel in dealing with this, responding to this? Just really taking that time to do that evaluation so you can see the red flags really clearly and decide if you can you keep at this carnival? Can you join the team?
Yeah.
Can you help with the show?
Yeah. I think I would say believe your support network.
Right.
They're they're not emotionally connected. They're not, attached to this. They see what you can't see. If you say that you are in a relationship with your friends, or the professional tells you, or your mama tells you, they can see, believe them. They really just want to keep you out of the situationship. They want to keep you from being in the recipe for disaster, because they love you. And so it is definitely difficult once you are in La La Land. But if you could bring yourself, gather all of yourself to say, I know that they see something that I don't.
Yeah.
Let me entertain this at least. That will help. That's my tip for tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Nakima, for joining me for another episode of Baggage Claim Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita.
These are so good. I so enjoy them. I always have a great time.
Well, season 4 will be coming, and we'll see what we have for you. And I know you can talk on any topic because you're just like that. And we'll see. We got at least 2 people that said co-hosts.
Co-host.
Yeah. And your girl was watching, so you might want to give her a shout out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to my girl. She's on there, Tiffany.
Yeah.
She got a couple comments in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure she wanted to say more, but she said she wouldn't.
All right, everyone. We want you to have a great evening. It's not too late to like and share. I'm sure that there are people in your space that could benefit from this topic. Don't forget to head over to the YouTube channel and catch some of those replays. And while you're there, what do I want them to do?
Like and share, subscribe.
That's what I want you to do. Subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do all the things.
Do all the things you can.
All right. Have a good night, and we will see you next week. We're talking about abuse, addictions. Abuse and
much
addictions. Yeah. So we'll see you then. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm.